Yeah, at the very least, they have a Harley. I think I will be okay with that. So they have ways to at least penetrate the back lines and go in for pickoffs, because apart from that, the Balearic and the Esmeralda, they, as you mentioned, seem very safe. So let's see how ONIC play this out against this hyper-aggressive lineup that Aurora draft.
ONIC knows they're trying to survive. They're not trying to lose early, because if they go late game, they can get these fans at the Lenovo Legion Gauntlet even hyper than they are to kick off this first game. It's time to begin our second and last series of the day. It's ONIC versus Aurora Gaming. And to call the action, we've got Naisu and Gideon. Fellas?
Thank you so much, Rain Day. Welcome, everybody. The series that everybody has been anticipating for. It's Aurora facing off against ONIC in a best of 5. Everybody's had their opinions of ONIC, but everybody has seen Aurora as a legitimate threat to the throne. But who is going to come up on top here?
Man, you know, today and the past couple days have been a whole lot of sweep action that we've seen, and hopefully this one goes the distance here, because, you know, moving forward, semifinals next, you want to go ahead and see them bring it the distance, and the drafts will have the distance for Aurora. I mean, the Louis E pick has only been brought up, what, one time? This is now the second time Louis comes through. Again, leave it up to Coach Midnight to make these drafts interesting, right? And sometimes that can work for you, sometimes it works against you, but we have seen some amazing setups with that diversion play.
You have some really great stuff across the board, and I want to see how creative they actually went to. We saw Coach Midnight already talking very expressively to the rest of his players about what exactly may or may not happen, or certain mechanics. We're not 100% sure here, but really that diversion could be the difference maker. They're playing a double fighter comp, which is already pretty scary when you don't have like a dedicated scaler, so we know that Aurora are the ones on a timer in comparison to ONIC. We're seeing Wilderness Blessings, we're even seeing a Brave Smite coming out of Rosa, which is atypical for low Yis nowadays, because dear lord, like LaFell mentioned, once Lutfi is on top of him, it's going to be difficult for Rosa to get away.
I would say if you look at this for Aurora Gaming, one of the great things about the composition that can go against that setup from Luffy or anything else is they have a ton of options to just set things up, you know, between pick-off potential here. Looks like Tianzi's going to do a little bit of damage to Keyboy, but just keeps him at bay. And whether that's the kick, you know, from Pagu with that Way of the Dragon, or, you know, Lunar jumping in. I mean, how many times now have we seen the Barretts be placed into that XP lane? The amount of ground coverage
Late game apalagi udah jadi ori kisah sakit. Cuma ini cowoknya ini PR-nya nih.
It is. It's really good, but at the same time, right, there's still also the Valentina coming in from Sans. Now this fight could be a make it or break it here, as we can see that they don't have first position, but here comes the TP.
Well, Pagu just trying to buy some time for that diversion. That's Aurora comes through. There's the Daytona's welcome. They're going to crash on the wall. Sans is gone, but Kyrie will be able to secure the objective. And now Lunar going to try to fight it off here, but gets taken down. So ONIC winning the trade.
Really nice trade so far. It's a little sad for Lunar, but somebody has to take the damage, right? Really nicely played by ONIC's side. This gives Kelra just a little bit of time to actually breathe for a moment. Let's replay one more time, right? Because Aurora understood one thing. We are going to fight for this neutral objective. Unfortunately, we don't have Pagu to actually open up the map any further. But at this point, trading out against them just isn't worth the time. We already got that one kill onto Sans. At this point, we just need to make sure that we're minimizing the losses, because unfortunately for Lunar, despite Lutfi eventually going to outscale him, he manipulates the waves really well.
Apalagi dia smith tank kan, susah mati.
Setup, you know, Aurora, if they can't find plays like that with an diversion or
the
pickoffs that they're looking for, then what do they wait for? You know, Tianzi to get stacks like we've seen before on this, like possibly the Sky Piercer for that Hirara. Siggyboom has probably been one of the better performing Paquito gold laners that we've seen so far throughout MSC. Again, I can't forget how he played it against DLPH, and you know, that's one thing that can be said too, that they can utilize here throughout this game.
Yeah, and I think that that's going to be the main win condition, right? Especially since they're on a timer. They still have like about hold on.
Whoa, that's a timer right there too. Kyrie's going to be able to get away. Taking out Pagu, man.
It's just,
again, all you have to do is play around that deadly magic once it's up.
Yep, and most importantly, wait, hold on. Gonna get a quick TP here just to open up the map and get a good idea of where TNZ might be looking to hide, knowing that the purple buff is going to spawn in about 12 seconds. This next neutral objective is going to be difficult to contest for. Lutfi has so much of an advantage against Lutfi because of the previous interaction by Turtle side. So I think this should be a no contest overall, but that depends on what Aurora is going to do with this, because I'm seeing members making their way up towards this top side, and Kelra, he's only got the Purify, so once BMI is down, he's sort of a sitting duck.
They just want to go ahead and trade it out, right? Objective for potential play across the map.
Oh, delivery service?
Yep. Diversion's going to be used right to that mid lane. Pagu this time, the difference here is he's actually got the kick available. Last time they fought for this, he was only level 3. Lunar is going to jump it. Daytona as well, but Pagu trying to zone out Sans. Already using that Keyboy now. Halfbelt gets kicked right to the team. Will deliver Keyboy up. And Lunar will secure the turtle. So Aurora fighting back, and now they're going to be crashing it down in the mid lane. Pushing them back further. Lobby has the shields and space to work with. Did pop the Purify and will survive.
Good use of the Purify there. I thought Pagu for sure was going to get in, clapped on the third hit of G Kundo. Manages to walk out of it to save his life. So not bad. It's 2 for 2. Not a real advantage overall. I think even when we're looking in the jungle sectors, right, even Kyrie being able to steal away at least one of these turtles puts him slightly ahead of TNZ, while everybody else just doesn't seem to be on the back foot, right? Lunar and Lutfi have evened out. Sigabum actually has a bit of a lead onto Keller because of that double wave. And we're waiting for it to accumulate to maximum, a critical mass, as they call it. Oh no, Kelra doesn't know.
Diversion used. Kelra is going to be fine. He does still have the Purify. It's not popped yet. Kyrie's going to re-enter here. They go in. Wrath of Dry to follow up. Pagu already goes for the kick. They burn the flicker from Sans, but Siggy Boom comes in with a 1-2. They'll pick up one and they'll eat another. Taking out Keyboy. Aurora finds 2.
They're eating good today. They're eating very, very good. And Kelra ends up missing the wave this time around. I mean, actually, 1 minion manages to slip through, but Aurora, they're not done yet. They're looking for mid-tier 1.
Sakit banget itu.
He just left to his own devices. Will get taken out, dissected from the team.
Man, you can tell the difference between a good Barretts and a bad Barretts, how they flicker Detona's welcome, but the usage of the rocket jets to predict, hey, if you purify, if you flicker, this is the angle you're gonna be in, and I can knock you right back into the fight, making these chases so much harder to leave.
That's right. Yep.
That's my king.
Coach Midnight, again, has been a key part of what Aurora Gaming has been able to accomplish so far through this time. Again, this draft, something a little bit different than what we've seen, but it's just this execution from Aurora Gaming that has been so well. Again, there wasn't a huge lead that they had until now. It's not that it's massive already, but it's 2.6K. That switched on very quickly off of 1 or 2 fights. And so now ONIC playing back foot, they've got to be able to readjust this. This third turtle's coming up here. We'll see if they actually want to go ahead and approach this or just wait. Already half health on this turtle. Again, Daytona's welcome. Pagu looking for that follow-up. There's so much damage in that central point. Siggy Boom won't be able to follow through the flicker, but there it is. TNZ will. A stack secured. And now he's going to be able to get away here so easily as they look for another. Oh, no, Kyrie gets kicked. I know you're a wizard, Harley, but you can't get away.
Oh my goodness, Aurora playing out of their minds. The red herrings, they make it look so easy right now, but they're just not missing a single beat. They're not too tunnel vision. They're still open-minded to the way that these fights need to actually progress. Let's look at the replay one more time, right? Because again, this was an incredible catch here, spitting him right into Keyboy's face, making sure, despite the fact that Sans tried to flicker on out of there, dashed twice to make it all happen, the chase, the rundown from Aurora squad, it's difficult to beat. Once that major impact is landed and Keyboy doesn't have that Wrath of the Dryads, it's so much harder for ONIC to peel them away.
The unfortunate thing is once the Wrath of the Dryad is dropped down, that's also just a clear signal for Rosa to be like, okay, you want to fight here? I'm just going to go ahead and get these yin-yang interactions procced off, you know, and pump out enough damage. Everyone's centered around that Wrath of Dryad setup anyway from Keyboy. The Louis pick is actually a great counter into that.
And that's the thing. It's about finding the anchors here. So far, Aurora, Rosa has been generally untouched this entire game. And, you know, given the caliber of player, Rosa just doesn't seem to ever be out of position. And that's where Pagu comes in saying, I'm willing to die for the Thorn Queen every single time, if necessary, just to make sure that Rosa doesn't fall behind. On the opposite side, right, ONIC doesn't necessarily have a dedicated anchor. When you are pulling backwards, who do you fall back to if not Sans?
Yeah, that's why one of the things, again, if you look at what ONIC can do here as they fall further behind, man, 7,000 gold deficit for ONIC. You've got to play into the Claude, right? You've got to go ahead and let Kelra get to that point, but then even so, if you already have the Trinity, you walk into those team fights, it's going to be the same case where you're just overloaded with that damage, that front damage that Aurora has to play around with. And this Lord, is going to go freely over to Aurora Gaming.
Well, that's a really good point here. In just a little bit, Zipper, could you pull up the items? I mean, we need to know how far Kelra is from that Trinity as of right now. I think he should already be done with the Golden Staff based on the total amount of gold the team has, but I'm not 100% sure. In the meantime, though, Sigaboom, this is probably the strongest he is going to be throughout the game. He legitimately can 1v1 Kyrie, Sans, and Kelra if they just walk into a bush, and I think that's the big fear for Aurora. Opening up the map, especially with Keyboy, he's died 3 times opening up the map and fighting for that space. It's just really hard to get back up for him.
We'll see how they play this out. Lord slowly walking up here to this mid lane. They still have the Holy Defense Shields to play around with, but ONIC, again, with this kind of lineup, can they still defend this? 10 minutes into the base, the Lord charges in that mid turret. They're going to have to deal with this wave pushing in as the bottom also turret. Shield pops. Mid turret down. Aurora stays disciplined for now. They'll let them clear out the Lord here and see if they can get more.
I like it. I like it a lot. ONIC says, you know what? Mid inhibitor, whatever. We can deal with it no matter what. As long as it's not the long lane and we have to play this awkward Lord fight every single time, especially dancing around that pit, it's just not worth the effort. And ONIC recognized that, right? It's the setup for the later half of the game to make sure that Kelra is in a good position, because so far, there's probably their only win conditions besides, you know, maybe punishing Kagu, maybe punishing Sigaboom. And even then, you kind of need Kyrie +1 to make that happen. Let's go to the items, because finally, we see 2 already completed for Kelra. Kyrie actually opting to go for a more bruiser build this time around. He does not want to die randomly to either Sigaboom or even to someone like Rosa.
Yeah, he's kind of has to, you know. We've seen it how it happened in the first fights. I mean, that first hurdle, it was just him being patient. He went in with the retribution, but every single team fight after that, you just see how quickly he has to go back in time to survive, you know, and that brute force is going to help him a little bit. Few stacks here for TNZ. This is what we were mentioning earlier on. You know, you're going to pick up that Harari, you're going to be able to get those stacks. You're a threat in itself. And honestly, if ONIC puts too much to try to deal with TNZ, that's where, you know, again, they're not paying attention to the rest of the side, the side attack here from Sigaboom or even the diversion from Rosa. There's almost too many things that ONIC has to be wary of in these team fights just because of the nature of composition that Aurora has.
Oh yeah, and I think that's going to be hard for especially Lutfi. As much as he wants to be in the faces, he needs to act as Peel. He needs to cut Lunar off from certain angles and force him to flicker. But as you can see, right, it's moments like this where Lutfi, he can't just stay in front of their face forever. He has to pull in and out consistently to maintain his health.
Okay. Again, at least some defensive items here being picked up now by ONIC, even an immortality for Keyboy, just to get him there a little bit longer. Kyrie will pick up Genius Wand. Sans has been holding on to the Lua Yi ult, right? That diversion. Maybe there's some trickery that they can go with to set them out for this fight for the Lord, or potentially take it.
I think the winning play is if Sans steals the Detna's welcome and he is able to combo with the Falling Star Moon to guarantee somebody gets locked against the wall during a neutral objective. That's my best guess. Because so far, I feel like Aurora are hyper aware of specifically Keyboy. They're like, Kelra, okay, sure, we got flickers, we can get out of it. He only has Purify, so after the BMI, there's no follow-up after that. The next problem will be whether or not we're too low and Kyrie is able to kind of clean this up. Considering his build, we're not going to get one shot. It's over a duration of time. So really just boils down to how Lutfi, Sans, or even Keyboy finds an out-of-the-box play.
The out-of-the-box play is going to have to happen in the defense, man. Again, with their backs against the wall. This Lord should still be able to be dealt with, though, given the fact that you're 10 minutes in. You know, you've got pretty good clear with this. They can lock it down if they have to, if it's sacrificing that Wrath of the Dryad to go ahead and keep this thing forward away from that crystal. That could be a play for ONIC. But just like them, Kagu's got his own immortality. They've got their defensive items to work with too. They're going to go ahead and push it in. They want to take this top turret down first while ONIC deals with the Lord. They're going to go anyway. Daytona's welcome. Right on target. It's the tankiest member. It's going to get kicked away too. Keyboy dropping down the Wrath of the Dryad for the back line. TNZ is there zoning everyone away. It's a split fight happening here with already Keyboy buying so much time. Finally goes down. But now Aurora looking to cap out game of one. ONIC on this defense. They got to clear out these waves. They're still charged up. TNZ able to take out Kelra. And that's going to be it for game one. ONIC facing a tough loss against Aurora Gaming.
Beautifully played by TNZ. That's how you maintain your lead as Hirara.
Ben aja nggak sih si Hirara cuy, sama aku itu guys.
Is directly tied not only to her items but specifically from the level. So once you hit that level cap, it's only like 3 seconds before you get both of your combo abilities back up. That's why he's going in and out constantly, baiting those spells, baiting a reaction from ONIC, and that's something that they're gonna have to remember for the upcoming game here. Great game number one coming in from Aurora. At least for ONIC, now we see what the first set of cards are going to be. Let's see what the next combo is for game number 2, and I think a lot of it is trying to find that punish in the jungle.
Man, if they, again, when it goes to the draft, it's like there's always that one curveball that you can almost expect from Aurora Gaming. And it's not that the Loyi was the entire reason why they won. It was just, again, executing around the version that they had. Sigma had the hell of a game with Kino gold lane. And just even Pagu, man, the amount of times that he was able to lock on the right target, get the kick, serve it up to his team, was hard to play against.
It's very, very difficult because imagine if you're keyboard and you see Pagu doing moves like that. He shouldn't pose in front of your face.
Yeah.
Do you go for the punish or is he going to flicker a third hit of Contoh on your backliner? Keyboard can only do so much. And the problem is that TNZ can do the exact same thing. It's a logistics problem that they solve with Rosa on this Loyi. But we're going to let our panel break it down for you as we throw it back over to Rain Day.
Somebody call It Man because they need an answer to this Contoh in the gold lane. Paquito and Siggy Boom continue to dominate. No kills in that game are the same. The early game problem. Don't know if ONIC have found a solution, but this is the time to test their theories because they are only a few games away from getting knocked out. Aurora trying to go 2-0 up here over ONIC.
And the game begins. So far, the statement has been set by Aurora. Hey, we've already taken game number 1, and we're still going to be whipping out some new tech against ONIC. And look at this. Once again, we do see the Rafaela. This time paired up with 2 tanky boys, a particular Leonin who scales up very, very quickly and very, very deadly, and of course, the man himself, Lucas.
Well, I love this. Again, some unique heroes come through. Leave it up to Aurora Gaming and Coach Midnight to make this happen. I remember specifically, I think it was LaFell that was asking about the Lucas jungle back in the wild cards to go through. Well, finally it comes out in the knockouts. You can see that battle in the XP lane that we're so used to seeing. Of course, Lunar is going to struggle a bit there with that Esmeralda, but again, the idea here, the theory behind this draft from Aurora is you've got so much speed to work with, so much sustainability, the potential to bring someone back. Mind you, it's flying clouds as well. So that's a whole other thing too. Just how quick Aurora can get back into the fights that ONIC is going to have to kind of keep notion of, because again, when you're getting all these heals through and you're this tanky for Aurora, you can't overstay if you're ONIC, and that might be one of the biggest problems for them.
Let's not forget, again, most people have tend to kind of lean away from Lucas because he's so ability-driven, and his ult, again, you can wait for the full duration, or you can get into these fights like right now and see whether you can start building enough scars to maximize it as soon as you get it. And that's the issue, right? It's going to be a matter of spacing for both sides. You can see that even Silence has opted not to go for Wilderness Blessing and instead pull yourself together to make sure that he can put your out of the way in case things get really, really dangerous, which I would assume will, as we see Lunar, he is having a tough time in this lane.
They got to put pressure somewhere, and right now that's going to be on the Uranus up there in the XP lane for Lunar. Turtles up though, so right now ONIC has favor to go ahead and get in position if they can. Keyboard doesn't have level 4 yet. He's giving the information where TNZ is though, so that gives Kyrie a chance to go and secure his buff, and then we'll see if this breaks out into a fight. A response though, they know Keyboy's here. Siggy Boom rotating up to allow this buff to be secured, but the fight for the Turtles already going to start up, but it's less than half health. Secured by Kyrie. Let's see if they disengage here. Pagu too low, so objective secure for ONIC.
Oh, that's a bit of a waste here, and honestly, a pretty huge win because now Kelra at least gets some gold shielding here, just to get a little bit of a lead against Siggy Boom at this point of time. And not to mention that I think that ONIC also recognized that, hey, we got to be careful. We cannot underestimate this Lucas. There's a very good chance that he can just power through a lot of our abilities, even if they do have the Fatal Links here. Keep in mind, anti-CC is going to be a big, big mechanic here for Tien. Oh, this is dangerous. Wait a second.
Oh, Pagu.
I don't know if they want to keep on doing this, but ONIC made the smart choice but to back away.
Hey, you know what? Hey, you can still say, Pagu, that wasn't a green camp. You know, that was a buff that went over in the hands there of Kyrie, but still kind of trying to maintain this jungle. Skypiercer is picked up by Kelra. That's kind of what we were thinking with that
Aurora
Granger being picked up here. Again, it is a comfort pick, but also if you can start to build those stacks for Kelra, obviously that's really going to help. And he has to play at range against this kind of lineup here that Aurora Gaming has. So off to a pretty steady start for ONIC, building up already a nice little lead.
And they don't mind not interacting
kita si Kelra menggunakan Granger bisa ngepok dari jauh. Cuman PR-nya ada di
as long as Aurora recognize this, hey, we need to fight on our terms and
sudah
only
mengeluarkan
our
segala
terms.
macam resource tiba-tiba dihidupkan lagi.
Don't matter.
Here in the mid lane, this is going to matter. Keyboy fallen. First blood to the hands of Sigiboom. What a rotate here through.
It's not over. It's not over.
Oh, Lunar's going to get thrown around. TNC, though, they're on this side. He wants this purple buff if he can take it from Kyrie. This is a bit of a risk. But they're going to go for it anyway. Lupi on this offside goes in with a falling Star Moon, able to find two. Pushes them back, but again, they just don't have that follow-up damage just yet. They'll bring back Lunar. Might try to split things up, just sacrificing himself to keep the rest of Aurora up as Ludwig will take Lunar down.
Okay. At least he gives that kill over to Ludwig instead of Kelra.
Hidup lagi dia, guys.
You can see that Aurora, they can kind of fight forever. And ONIC also recognize that. Now, at least first item's already done. Turtle goes into the hands of ONIC. This is going great for them, but it's an ever-moving pendulum. Now, Sigiboom gets a catch up back on Gold. Gold here, he's got a kill in hand, but now that he's got the extra plating as well, he should finally have a slight lead against Kelra.
Belum ada Puri.
Didn't
Belum
have
Puri
to
sih
pop
dia.
the Purify, just dropped down the Zaman Force, but yeah, as you mentioned, he got a lot of the extra gold off that turret. That's kind of what Sigiboom needed, but again, he did get that first kill too. He knows the Zaman Force is down. Kelra will go in. A quick kill. The killer instinct for him, knowing Zaman Force wasn't available. Makes a move, and now bottom side break out TNC.
Lagi nice, lagi Kelra, der. Nah, itu dia kasih makan terus.
For your Sky Piercer for Kelra.
Great knowledge from Kelra. He understood what the assignment was. Hey, no Zaman Force, you don't have a flicker, you can't run away from me. And I love it. If you want to just sit underneath their turret, I can harass you for days without anything left. I think at this point, Kelra is going to be a much bigger problem to Aurora. Now this game plan is starting to fall apart. Luckily for Sigiboom, he doesn't lose too much here because they still have the passive from Rosa to get the revives down. But Kelra, now building up on these Sky Piercer stacks, they need to cut it in half at some point in the game.
Yeah, you know when that setup happens and you don't have the Zaman Force available for Sigiboom, ONIC will take advantage of that. So really good decision there. Pagu obviously need to pick up a little more defensiveness, gets a Radiant Armor locked in now for him, but it's just, again, ONIC building up on this lead very early on. It's going to be great for them. Turret going down up top side. It looks like Sigiboom should be able to get that one, but now Lunar possibly in trouble. The rest of the team's here, though. It's tanky enough. Picks up a Dominance Ice, but this Turtle is up. Are we going to see 3 for 3 for ONIC in the Turtle department?
Probably. They're going to have to contest this, I suppose, but the lead isn't looking too good. And I think the real question is whether or not Kelra is going to be here for the fight. It looks like he is. They've already taken the tier 1s on both sides, both, again, losing lanes for Aurora at this stage, considering everything that has happened. But if they can find the opening, and here comes Lunar.
Yep, they're going to go for it. Lunar just blasted down, though. Has to pop the
mati dong Lunarnya.
TNC looking for his own opening. Wrap the Dryan locks down Keyboy. They get thrown out by the Lantern, and Lupi's gone. Kelra flickering defensively.
Dapat dia Kyrie-nya.
Kyrie able to get the turtle.
Lagi, der lagi.
And now with the speed, they're able to get some distance here for Aurora Gaming. They're going to go ahead and respawn, revitalize Pagu back up. They lost the objective fight, but it looks like Aurora still willing to take these fights.
That was beautiful stuff. Like, Lunar got a lot out of ONIC. Sans even using his ult as well, making sure that they got basically everything down. Kelra trying his best, but Pagu switches the role with Lunar to get right in front of Kelra's face to make sure that nobody else needs to die.
Mereka ngumpul nih bahaya, Cok. Karena mereka aggro-nya kuat nih, ada Rafaela kan. Move speed-nya nambah, Silya ada nanti.
Again, a final. Well,
kecuali nanti Kelranya ketangkap ya, kepok. Tapi Kelranya kan
you're not going to be able to just keep respawning Pagu now. Again, Sans up here in the front of it all. Rosa trying to get away too. This is a messy fight in between two turrets. as they back off. Meanwhile, up top,
buset, hasilnya.
he's been dealing with a lot of pressure on this Harith. I mean, ONIC now is not letting up in the jungle.
Yeah, it's really tough for TNZ at this stage. Unfortunately for TNZ, in this matchup against Kyrie, on Hirara, I don't think it's very easy because unfortunately for TNZ, a lot of Lucas's moveset, it's one-dimensional. You don't have a way to kind of delay the timings of it. You don't have a way to kind of come from different angles. It's very straightforward. I run you down, I'm pushing you back either into my team or away from my team. But Hirara is so different, especially with the iframes as well. Also get punished.
Pago could be in trouble again. Doesn't have a flicker available. The rest of the team has to help support. They're going to throw themselves into the fight. Trying to get away. And now Pago on the disengage. Lupi up on the front side. They call it off though. They don't want to overcommit to this. They see the purple buff is up. They're going to put some pressure here. Kyrie goes in, and TNZ doesn't have the purple.
Yep, but that means that Kyrie doesn't have retribution. So far, this could be a forced fight here. They know that Keyboy doesn't have the Fatal Link, so they have a very short window to try and punish. But so far, Lunar has not been able to open up the map convincingly because of the fact that he's been losing.
Oh no! Flicker forward, wrap the Triad. Lunar taking some shots. The Ramsey shots.
Mega kill. Kasih makan terus.
By Kyrie's hand.
Lagi, double kill. Dadah.
For Kelra. They ignore the Lord. They go for Pago. Pago, where's the tree to run here, man? Being chased down by Sans and Kelra. Couple shots of the Rhapsody, and boom, another.
And Sans and Kelra are playing out of their minds right now. Sans,
ini kayaknya Paku tuh cocok ke hero yang model kayak Chol gitu, hero yang buka-buka map.
Sure, like, even though TNZ has anti-CC, doesn't necessarily mean he's safe, right? He still needs Rosa to bail them with the extra movement speed to help close that distance, because that's Lucas's biggest problem, right? TNZ jumps into the middle of this fight, tries to make something happen by pushing Lutfi out of the way, but unfortunately the entire time Sans is just building up the butterfly stacks on top of him. Rosa can try and bail him out of there, but once you are committed to the lightning, to the quick step, it's just too much to handle.
Di sini yang nangkap Kelra tuh kagak ada ya.
So far, their main win condition is going to be Sigma. The early game is done for Aurora.
Dia ada skill 2 yang ke belakang ditambah flicker lagi kan jauh.
There was a great kind of split push happening with ONIC. You know, Lupi taking out that top turret, that defense shield. You can see it here in mid 2 being down. Max stacks here for Kelra. Just so much value on this Granger. It's comfort for a reason, and now they're knocking on the base turrets of Aurora Gaming as the mid turret falls. Lord makes its way down 5. Lunar, half health already. Even on this Uranus, it's going to pop the Consecrate. All turrets are going to be stripped out of the base of Aurora Gaming. But now with ONIC, a 10,000 gold lead. They dealt with this in game 1, and now it's their turn. Keyboy looking for an opening here. Lord's going to be worked on. Keyboy jumps on in. Final. Oh, Fatal Links comes through on 3. Still on the defense 2. They got to hold it together. Kelra firing off the backside. He's got the space to work with. Siggy Boom. All the shields in the world. They got to go heal back up, but the crystals are already going to be locked on. TNZ up the front side. Kelra gets another. Make it a triple. Can he get the Maniac?
Gila Maniac tuh.
A convincing win for ONIC. Sans, man! Gilak Sans is back! And not to mention, every side laner was winning. Kelra was winning. Lutfi won right at level 1. And I think a lot of this just boils down to, man, our laning phase kind of sucked. And what we need to fix here in the draft is to make sure one of these lanes need to win. And if it's going to be Sigabon's lane,
berarti kayak memang cocok banget kalau Kelra itu dikasih hero-hero yang memang udah dasarnya udah sakit dari early ya. Kayaknya lebih powerful ya. Kayak pakai Granger gitu loh. Kalau pakai Cloud itu memang jago, cuman nggak. Cloud kan beneran harus jadi item dulu Trinity. Kalau Granger kan enggak guys. Di early udah sakit ya.
It's nice to see a new hero come to play, but it just didn't work. You know, this was a struggle from the start to the finish.
Cuman positioning Kelranya bagus banget.
On just the jungle, but then the rest of the map. I mean, it was really hard for TNZ to even secure his buffs that he needed and everything else, but also just really good positioning and fighting from Kelra here and the rest of the ONIC squad, because again, you look at all the room Kelra has here in these highlights.
Kecuali tadi Kelleranya dipegangin ya. Ini nggak ada yang bisa megangin Keller guys. Udah pre-hit semua dia tuh. Tengok pre-hit banget dia. Tengok nggak ada yang megangin dia. Dia makan-makan lah dia.
Keller has all the space in the world to move here.
Yeah, it's just so difficult. Hopefully they figure it out here. We're going to be throwing it over to break it down even more with Rain Day and the boys, of course, Brigida as well.
Thank you so much. I mean, this was the gold standard in action. Gideon and Naisu, you guys didn't have too long of a cast on that one either. It's been quick, decisive games on both sides of it. And now Brig
Oke, kita mau masuk ke game ketiga ya teman-teman ya. Alhamdulillah di game pertama tadi ketinggalan dan disamakan kedudukan di game kedua. Well done, ONIC.
Well, again, like this is why they don't ban out the Harley, because they're like, yeah, you know what? You want to fight fire with fire? Well, we got Suns as well as Kyrie coming in with the Nolan as well as Farsa. That's a lot of burst damage.
It's a lot of team fight. It's a team fighting lineup.
What the Farsa?
What the Farsa? And the AoEs too. Minotaur and Belleric. Just imagine what could happen when it comes to the team fights.
Siggy Boom will take the Freya in gold. Lunar will be on the Barats as well. It'll be a Paquito jungle from TNZ. Oh man, game 3 could be where things start to shift for two regions desperately fighting for a chance at the semifinal. The bid is on the line. Best of 5. Game 3. Send it back to Naisu and Gideon.
You can do it.
The world has demanded for bloodshed, and today we are going to get here at game number 3. This is going to be spicy because both compositions want to get into your face. They all want to do one thing and find that first blood as we jump right into it. Aurora, for those of you tuning in, is going to be on blue side facing up against ONIC.
Ini kalau dari draftnya jujur ya, jujur aja nih.
I like that how they went through this draft. Whoa,
itu lihat, itu belum lihat game ya.
Concussive blast and that little jump through from Pagu.
Enough damage
to send him back. He doesn't burn the Purify at least.
At the very least. Here, but at least Pagu now gets to walk into enemy territory for free, and not to mention they're playing on their strong side. Lunar already generating a lead of his own, and Pagu takes like no damage.
Oh my god, Kyrie.
I think, you know, that is not what I was expecting that early on. First blood.
And all of that, why? Because, unfortunately for Sans, he just took too much damage. And now they're going to start pressing their lead to the opposite side.
Menurut gua sih, kayaknya untuk Kelra itu lebih cocok menggunakan hero-hero yang range-nya itu
and he's already level 3. He does some real damage.
Well, man, they're not letting him again, playing around this pressure.
Bagi dia menggunakan Esmeralda Gold Lane ya.
In the first couple minutes of the game, trying to slow down
Kyrie. Di early mungkin menang sih.
Esmeralda lawan Freya nanti udah even potentially. I mean, there's still 30 seconds for that turtle to come up. They can just kind of let that go if they have to, but no, they probably won't just give it up for free, even despite the pressure they're feeling this early on.
Yeah, absolutely not. They need to contest for this. I mean, this really depends on whether Sans actually hits level 4, right? Because he's the secondary win condition in this early game next to Kyrie. And even as we see this game progress, because of that early recall, the control we're seeing from Aurora, now Kyrie is like, man, this early game might not be in my hands.
Yeah, now it's Kyrie asking for the green camp control, man. You know, trying to protect these right now as Aurora doesn't let up. They do get the retribution out though, so I guess that is going to be the decision by ONIC, especially since Kyrie's on level 4. Let's just give up this first turtle, give it to Aurora. They've won it by just how much pressure they put on. Oh, a big slam through to the wall. Loopy gone. Keyboy could be next year. He's just going to be zoned out. No, the 1-2 punch comes through and Lunar picks up a kill.
The autopilot here.
Ini nggak di rank, nggak di kompetisi, di ban aja nggak sih? Paquitonya
connected overall, and it seems like ONIC, they needed to regroup, but unfortunately Lutfi
just
took the wrong path and did not want to commit his ult. I think moments like that gets really, really difficult for ONIC. Now, Sigubum, he's more than happy. He unfortunately is in the losing matchup, but he doesn't mind as long as he's not losing out on gold or EXP. Kelra can try and lock this lane for as long as he wants, but if we do see that Sigubum's rotating consistently, he should be able to get mid waves as well.
Yeah, and as you just saw, that's such a good kind of like a counter that Pagu has against that feathered airstrike, obviously with the Minotaur, you know, and if it's once he has the Flask of the Oasis and it kind of helps buff up that sustainability that comes with that motivational Aurora, you can then just kind of follow up with the mini jump, but then the ultimate, right, that he has that it just can set things up and stop ONIC's main game plan, which is playing around this Farsa's damage kit into a Rathodride, into setting things up for the Nolan on Kyrie to follow through. We've seen the burst damage before, but even on the other side, the counter to that is TNZ. This Paquito jungle, which most of us have seen in the gold lane. Hold on, Lunar, okay, he's going to try to get away. Feather Airstrike dropped down, but he's tanky enough to survive it. Just with the Daytona's welcome.
Kayaknya bisa sih nih, kalau Sun udah jadi item ya.
Didn't seem like the most optimal choice overall. Like, I get it if Lunar didn't have the stacks, but once he builds up on those stacks, he's actually comparable to like 1.5 of Lapu, right?
Yeah.
I think that should be the ratios that should be in their head. I think they were assuming that Kyrie was going to do a little bit more damage, but he's already 2 levels down, right? He's basically the same level as Lutpi, and even Lutpi knows for a fact that he can't chunk Lunar for more than half of his HP, and even then, we're asking for a lot. Overall, this has been a really great start for Aurora as they've controlled the entire bottom side, and it's unlucky that it spawns back down to the bottom side once more.
Yeah, right now, Aurora Gaming is basically just kind of coasting on through this early portion of the game. Second turtle's going to be up here, though, so we'll see if this time ONIC wants to possibly fight both mid laners, picking up the glowing wands here. Again, this Eudora been such a mainstay in the meta currently, and you see why. You know, the multiple stuns that you can kind of dish out, the damage, the poke that you can do, that burst on such a kind of low cooldown is a problem. TNZ also picking up a Sky Piercer now on that jungle Paquito. Turtles up.
I don't think we can do this here. They're thinking about it, but he's leveled down onto TNZ, and I'm pretty sure that TNZ can just hold on to that champion stance.
Okay.
Oh, dimakan guys.
Forward, they're gonna force this fight. Kelra on Sigiboom though. Sigiboom trying to get away. Meanwhile, Lunar's the one to fall. The team fight's going on. Aurora Sands. There's the what the farce. 2 kills down double, and that's gonna be a turtle for ONIC.
A really nice play, a great interception coming in from ONIC here, making sure that at least they're dropping down their abilities on the right targets. Like, Lunar set it up pretty nicely. However, unless TNZ finds that trade onto Kyrie or even Sans, then it's just not worth the time. Oh, denial!
Oh, goodbye. Good punish there, because I was going to say, Kyrie could not get away with that after everything ONIC did, but mind you, that whole interaction has now stopped that gold lead that was building for Aurora Gaming. It was about 2,000. That's been pretty much dealt with. Kelra won't get this turret just yet, but he does do quite a bit of damage to it. Meanwhile, they got the bottom turret traded out, so ONIC now opening up the map a little bit here.
Kelra's doing a really good job. Like, first turtle, okay, Sigiboom walks out of it, you notice that he's only level 3, and that's when you know, like, okay, sure, he probably doesn't need to be there, but at the same time, you never really know what's going through Aurora's mind, especially what they're willing to risk. And I think that's the problem that ONIC has been facing these past couple of games. They're not 100% sure whether Aurora is willing to die for certain moments in these games to get a little bit more later on. But now that the Feather Airstrike has been used early, they are making the statement. You know what? As long as Sigiboom doesn't scale, TNZ will eventually fall off.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, too, that I guess the downside. Hold on, Kelra. He wants this turret. Aurora Gaming wants Kelra. Falling Star Moon, a bit of a burst of damage to Kelra. Be able to survive. Is there going to be a counter punch here from ONIC? They just make sure Kelra survives. They back up. Hold on, Daytona's welcome.
Wah, langsung ke belakang Lutpinya, lihat. Rata gak sih? Nah, itu dia ya, nice.
Will pick up a kill. I didn't know if Aurora Gaming was going to continue to fight, but they decided to go for it.
They made a mistake there for sure. Kelra played it perfectly, using his Purify to ensure that they don't find the one-shot and sets it up for something more dangerous down the line. This is what I'm talking about. This is game of boxing here. Let's look at the replay one more time, because as soon as Kibo, this looked like a very good punish from Aurora until Lutpi says, you know what, as long as the damage dealer can actually go for their full combo, which they know that Rosa doesn't have, this should be a free pick on to Lunar. And they know for a fact that Bravest Fighter, it's on a short cooldown, so they can just drag this out and wait until Lutpi has it. Aurora trying to punish.
Lunar needs the stacks. Daytona's welcome already used. Fighting off the turret. Pagu jumping in.
Lutpinya. Kelak, mati Kibonya tuh.
But a Feather Airstrike comes down from Sans, and now
lapu-lapunya lihat. Lapu-lapunya itu. Kau dapat dia.
He's gonna fight off Sigiboom. This is a fight all gone wrong right now for ONIC. The 1-2 from TNZ. And there's again fighting for the turtle. Kyrie trying to find space.
Wah,
Rosa
mati tuh,
comes in
guys.
with the
Mati
stun.
Kyrie-nya.
Turtle secured.
Mati Kyrie-nya.
And Kyrie
Bubar,
goes
guys.
down as well. Kalra could be next. Everybody's here to clean him up, and Kalra falls. It all falls apart.
Belum cukup damage-nya, cuy.
Oh no. Worst case scenario.
Waduh,
for
gak ada
ONIC.
mana.
Again,
Waduh.
worst yet, they're able to take out a majority of the members of ONIC, pulling themselves to the
Aduh,
lead that they
selamat
had
dia.
before. Now, just an extra 400 gold on top of it, and Tianzi is probably at his strongest at this point. Walking to take away these green camps. Don't worry, Pagu, nobody's mad at you this time. But let's look at the items, because we're at a dangerous
sebenarnya udah
state.
jadi 2
They're
item
looking to
sih.
make sure that Tianzi is strong enough to one-shot slams
teman
at
damage-nya
every
lampu-lampu
point
ini
of
yang
the
kasihan
game. But
banget dia.
Tianzi, keep in
Termasuk
mind,
si
that's solely based on the Sky
Iboy
Piercer.
yang harus ngedamain damage
TNZ
sebanyak
has
itu,
done
guys.
an amazing job just kind of farming up here. You
Nahan
know, yes, he's got 4
Aurora,
kills,
nahan
but
Paku
even
itu,
with that
ya,
Sky Piercer, and you see the gold
Freya,
lead that he's had, and a
gimana?
lot of that is supplemented because of the way that Aurora Gaming
Udah
has
late
played
game
them
kalah,
out.
guys,
You
SME-nya
know, from the
lawan Freya
start
mah.
up to now at that 9-minute mark, which will set themselves up for a good Lord take. But ONIC has showed us that they're willing to fight. A lot of these team fights are kind of weird the way they play out, right? Because it's either going to be started up by Luna. Oh, there's some good burst coming through. Blade was picked up recently by Rosa, but
Oh my
either
God.
Luna started up, or ONIC can kind of go ahead and choose to start things up. The downside of the Belric having the Revitalize is obviously you can't surprise anyone with that flicker combination we're used to seeing. So it's got to come from someone else, and mostly it's been from Lutfi flickering forward, trying to set up, or trying to just keep things split up in these team fights. And that's why they're so finicky with the way they play it out.
And that's why I say this is like a boxing match, right? As much as you want to throw your lead hand out with a big haymaker, you also have to keep in mind that Aurora could be throwing their own haymaker. Wait a second, Keyboy!
Keyboy, what's he doing? He's going to get eaten up here. Rosa's
langsung
contoh.
guys,
Kelra
Senti.
now splitting up.
Ratakan! Wah, rata kita, guys.
Sounds in trouble though. Can't get away from
Soalnya udah mati.
And now
Ngeliat
in the
tuh Freya-nya
factory
udah ngamuk.
form, he's going to be
Udah
splitting up
ngamuk
Kyrie and
Freya-nya.
Luffy from the fight.
Angel.
While Keyboy's got nowhere to go. A proc on the Sky Piercer. Looking to clean up more under the tier 2 tower. A double for
Gitu
TNZ.
tuh, udah late game
More
begitu, guys.
stacks
Freya
for
tuh.
this Paquito. And now they take down the tier 2 turret.
Gak bisa,
Kelra,
mundur Luffy.
he's
Gak bisa.
tanky enough. He should be fine. He'll just clear out the waves.
Yeah, he is not worried at all, but the rest of his team does not have that same grace. And Sigaboom has been playing an amazing Freya, a losing matchup, and yet watch
Ini
this, right?
ditangkap, cowok,
As they are
tulisannya,
playing this fight, they
ketangkap dia.
recognize, hey,
Dia maju
no
kan,
feather
nah,
airstrike,
terbang.
they
Nggak ada terbang lagi dia.
also lost the Wrath of the
Nggak ada.
Giants, and that's
Nggak bisa
when
terbang
they
lagi dia.
decided to throw everything.
Mati.
Even Sans recognizes,
Harusnya
hey, I'm
jangan
going to
maju
use the
dulu, Sans
Purify to
tadi.
get away from a flicker and rage
Belum
charge
ulti
coming
kan
in from
masalahnya.
Pagu, but it doesn't matter when
Nggak ada terbang
Sigaboom
lagi dia.
is stuck on to the rest of your team,
Nggak
cutting
apa.
you down one by one with no way to stop you. The lack of CC is going to be a huge issue.
Hold on. Daytona's welcome use on live
What?
cam. Kelra going to be in trouble again. A Minoan Fury not going to be in the air. Keyboy can't get away.
Nggak cukup tuh,
Once
damage
again,
ini terlalu
Sigaboom
sakit.
leading the charge in the
Waduh,
Valkyrie
rata,
form.
guys.
A big
Dapat
stun
tuh.
combo from Loopy though. Able to stop them in their tracks, but he gets dropped back
Eh!
by the Rockets.
Rata tuh,
But
guys.
they want to fight back Kyrie, trying to get away with Lunar. Not enough damage on the stomp there. That auto
Sikit lagi
attack.
tuh.
Not
Hampir
gonna be
aja
able to
mati
take
tuh,
out Kyrie,
guys.
but man,
Kyrie-nya.
what a fight in the jungle.
This is a beautiful game here. Despite being 5.6k ahead,
Ini kuncinya
Aurora
ada di
lose
Luffy.
out on
Cuma
Sigaboom
Luffy
in
nggak akan
comparison to
cukup,
Keyboy.
di
An
damage
upward
sebanyak
trade
itu,
for
guys. Walaupun
ONIC.
ada
The economic
darah
damage
putih
is
kali ya.
not done just yet. Another structure falls in the favor of Aurora. Another buff taken away from Kyrie. He's struggling this game. He's 1-4 and
Bisa nggak
4,
ya,
and
bisa
every
defense,
single
cuma ada
person he
shield.
wants
Masih
to
ada
go
shield.
for the kill has some form of damage reduction, has some form of anti-CC, or worse yet, just raw sustainability.
Yep, really good play there from ONIC because of the fact that they took out Sigaboom in the last fight. They pretty much alleviate that damage that Lord push would have done. Again, you're just seeing, despite being down these thousands of gold, ONIC somehow is still able to actually go toe-to-toe in the team fight against
lihat tuh,
Aurora
duitnya
Gaming
jauhnya.
here. And now for them, again, they have to look at what's their best angle? What's the best attack plan here for them? And especially when it comes to the jungle, because
Harus
Aurora
hati-hati
Gaming has
sih di
not
sini
let up on
si
this.
Sannya
They
ya.
continuously try to
Dimakan
get
cowok
these
lagi
buffs again.
Keyboy
They
lagi
welcome, throw him in
dong.
the wall. Keyboy, it's going to be again the
nggak
focus.
cukup
Feathered
tuh
airstrike to follow through. And now Sigaboom on the back line. He's
Wah.
just everywhere. Sound's got nowhere to
Langsung
go.
rata.
Forget the turret, forget everyone else. Aurora Gaming will just go for this fight, tossing everyone around, and they just go full-on wipeout against ONIC, and that's going to get Aurora Gaming this game under their belt. taking the series 2-1.
The one extra detail is what makes Sigibum one of the best Freyas here in this competition. When he fights, he's already looking ahead of the map thinking, you know what, I can't
Di-ban aja lah Pakuitonya, guys.
I will be able to sustain through the damage with my Descent of the Valkyries that have the extra AoE per auto attack, which is why you're seeing go from 0 to 100, 0 to 100 every single time. A dangerous game that ONIC is playing here, and one that they need to figure out right here, right now. There's too many holes in that draft. Last time it was missing that Atlas. Now, dealing with the Freya seems to be impossible. The ideas are good,
Nggak cukup damage-nya,
but
Cok.
Kyrie can't find that early game advantage.
Kelra dikasih ini aja sih, hero-hero kayak Granger gitu. Bisa scaling dari apa dia? Kasihan banget Kelra apanya si Ismi-nya, Cok.
Lunar was a big part of this. The way he played the Spirits, the way that he was able to go ahead and lock down. Sometimes it was just Keyboy, but his timings of the detone as well were just pivotal. But also Pagu. Again, this Minotaur hasn't been brought up too much, but you can just see how much crowd control comes into play for this, makes it happen. I mean, even something before this fight broke out, Sigibum picked up the Corrosive Scythe, and this was enough to kind of, slow them down a little bit so that they could follow through on this. Even going and flickering forward under that tier 2 turret just allowed them to collapse out. Almost every single fight after this looked like that. Lunar starting up, Sigibum jumping towards the back line, putting enough pressure there, and then the follow-through where they just collapse around ONIC's lineup.
Let's not forget the raw amount of CC that Aurora actually has to cancel out big abilities. There's so much to talk about in this game, but we're going to leave it over to the panel to break it down for you guys here in game number 3. What'd you think about it?
Entire series.
Yeah, and at least Killer is gonna have a bit more range to play around with. If you don't really want to
ini kuat nih guys. Ini pokoknya kalau Kyrie menggunakan MMC
by
bisa
the first
sih.
damage by the Paquito and the Eudora, but the high loss to wrap up the draft for Aurora.
Do you like it, Brig?
Yeah, it's a different hero that we're seeing on Pagu all over again, but I think it's gonna
Intinya
help
Kelra
so
tuh jangan
much
dikasih hero lain
if
selain
it's
MM lah ya.
realized,
Intinya itu
especially
aja.
in
Soalnya dia
just
pakai Harit ya.
sustaining the overall team fights.
Hylo's going to be in the EXP lane here. Pagu going
Oke, ini
Bellerin.
match point untuk Aurora sini semoga dua sama ya. Harus dua sama guys. Kalau enggak ya pulang guys.
It's going to be game number 4. Aurora
Game
has a
keempat,
chance
match point untuk
to
Aurora,
send
dan ini menjadi
ONIC
waktu untuk
home.
mengembalikan
This
lagi
would be
peluang
one for the
untuk
record
ONIC
books as
ya.
well, as we would see the
Merayain, teman-teman.
Turkey representative
ONIC, you
moving
can
on
do it.
to the semifinals with just one more
Gua
game.
percaya
We'll see if
di
they can
game
silence
ini
the crowd
ONIC bisa menyamakan
as we go to
kedudukan ya,
our
karena
guesters.
ini apa?
Thank you so much for every day. Once again, history being made
Ada
here
Brody yang
today.
pastinya nggak akan mungkin di
Turkey
TB
may
dan
have
dihindari
their one
oleh seorang Harit ya.
opportunity to make history and say, you know what, this is our
Hero
best
Brody, hero
finish
no
ever,
counter
and it
ya.
can only go up from here. But on the opposite side,
Ini yang
ONIC,
bisa
the
bunuh
Sky
Brody,
Kings
Eudora
themselves,
ya, mid lane.
understandably that
Termasuk
most
si
people
junglernya
see
ya.
them as the
Vito
favorites,
bisa
but
guys.
it's tough so far. We've seen so many good plays from either side. But Aurora keeps
harus
getting one over them
flickersannya
just like this. But ONIC this time now forcing Rosa to take the early recall.
Oh my god.
Little reminiscent of last game, right? But that time it was Sans that had to burn his balance spell early on, or was actually pressured enough to go back to base early on. But luckily for Rosa,
itu belum jadi ya teman-teman ya. Kalau jadi udah nggak ketolong delay-nya Brody, serius.
What we expected to see between this early game
Kalau
already.
Grangernya
Now, one thing I have to question though too is this Hylos pick. We were wondering what would pop up
Tapi
in the
bagus ya,
XP lane
mereka
given the bans and everything else. Now, is this the right
respect
thing
ban
against
ya
the
di
Uranus?
teman-teman
I
Aurora
think
tuh.
so far against the Uranus, it doesn't matter. It's not about the lane phase, it's about the team fights later down the line, right? They have a way to kind of slow Kyrie down, force him to use his iframes early on, and I think the Glorious pathway
Dimenya
is significant to try and
Harit
slow down both
sama
Sans
ini
and
doang sih
Kelra
ini.
from either
Yang
chasing those kills or to
Gitu.
chase them if the impact from Aurora's team fight is just that much greater. We'll see on the very first turtle here to see how that's going to play out, because level 4s, they're going to be extremely key for Aurora.
Yeah, you got to think about it this way too. The crowd control, once again, that Aurora Gaming has been playing around with is what's helped their lineups and execution so much.
Sakit apa Brody-nya udah
Sigibum's
kuat
gonna
di
be sent
early
back
ya
to
Hero
base
itu.
here because again, going
Belum
back to
banyak
crowd
yang
control
belum terlalu
options
notice
for
pakai Hero
Aurora,
itu. Hero
you
tenaga
know,
dalam
they've got
gitu ya.
that stun that comes with the Hylos. You mentioned with the Glorious Pathway, slowing them down too, or speeding yourself up, which can help even Rosa go for that stun on the Eudora. And then, of course, you have Pagu and the Belric, right? This time around, too, you've got a flicker because of the fact that you have the Hylos with that revitalize, kind of that sustainability to work with. So Pagu's surprise factor can be beneficial here. So ONIC, as they approach these fights, you know, they have enough crowd control themselves. They have sustainability with their own Revitalize, and you know that's why when you see these compositions come through and you see the Revitalize come to play, it extends these team fights, which can be favorable. Again, to have a Jushin, to have Kelra's space here. Punches, okay. Better to burn the flicker than die there for Kelra.
I totally agree, but more importantly,
ada
that just
flicker
saved
guys,
Sigabum
kalau nggak
his
mati
entire laning
mundur,
phase. Now there's
Bang
potential
Kelra.
angles here, but as long as Sigabum is able to, you know, get some help to break that freeze, it makes things so much easier because he was about to get frozen out and not be able to play the laning phase at all. Down by bot side though, I'm surprised that Luna was able to get this much pressure, considering that Lupe is supposed to be the one who actually kind of maintains full control overall. Like his passive into the Ring of Punishment really just kind of doesn't matter. It's just a free stacks for him. Okay.
Little jump in from Keyboy. I mean, they wanted to make a play on Rosa. But Rosa holds on to the flicker too, so that's a no-go there in the mid lane. A couple ultimates thrown out, and it's back to it. But ONIC slowly building up what they can across the map. Much slower pace, you know, than what we have to see, because again, ONIC needs to kind of slow this down in a bit, let Kyrie
Ini
get to where
DB-nya
it needs to
benerin
be,
ngandarin si Keller lari sih.
pressure where they can. Right
Keller
now,
itu
mid
udah
lane,
menit-menit
still okay.
sudah susah guys. Udah dia level 12, itu level 13
again,
tuh
at least
kuat.
Rosa is able to try and equalize the EXP just a little bit against Sans.
Kan hero termasuk hero teruding ini kan.
Sigibum fighting off Kelra here in the 1v1.
Itu dia.
First blood in the hands of Kelra. Man, did he fight for that one?
Solo kill, gak akan bisa melawan tuh. Arit
Anticipating
lawan
what the
Brody
dash is
guys
going to be.
kalah
Now they
bang.
have to protect these green camps. Lunar is going to try, but that retribution is a little too big for the side of Kyrie as they continue to take these small incremental leads and making sure that when
Dibuat
they do the
snowball aja
man-to-man
si
defense, there's
Keller
always just a
jadi
huge
item
tax
tuh.
that
Ini paling yang
applies
PR dia
onto
kan di
Aurora's
Aurora
side.
termasuk si ini ya, Belerik ya.
Gonna go ahead and heal up a little bit here, but okay, ONIC's not going to follow
Tapi
through
di
that. They
mereka
are
ini
just
kagak ada
looking for those
di
small wins. They're
Aurora
looking to
tuh.
compound the
Ngandelin
interest here.
Paku itu
Gideon,
doang.
as you
Menarik.
mentioned, now Zaman Force dropped down. Kelra going in with a bit of stun there to work with. Torn apart
Lagi.
memory.
Sikit lagi.
Who get his revenge? And now Sans re-engaging with the beacon. The rest of the team follow through. Kyrie will be able to pick up a kill for himself. Now TNC off the wings alongside Lunar. Glorious pathway drop down and Sans trapped, nowhere to go. Keyboy with a jump. Not going to be able to find the target. They're split up here. Now TNC waiting once again on the call. Lunar will go ahead and just force out ONIC from this area.
And that's officially Aurora actually winning out big time on that trade. Where was Kyrie? Was he not in position to try and trade for Kelra? Or was he 100% confident that Kelra was going to win that no matter what? Risky as it is, at least the flicker is back up. And more importantly, Kyrie already getting his own Sky Piercer. Let's see if they can snowball this. Fortunately for Lunar, it's going to be a big problem for ONIC, especially on these neutral takes.
Yep, TNZ also got his. First item locked in for Rosa too. Both mid laners fighting for it out. Second turtle though. Glorious pathway already dropped down. Still half health from the turtle. They're gonna deal with Lunar again. A split fight happening here. Lupi able to get a couple resources out now. Lunar trying to get away with that revitalize. Still gonna reset this turtle. So neither team getting the upper hand just yet. But it will be Kyrie to hold on to this turtle. It looks like TNZ is just going to have to give it up.
They don't have the health or the mana. And ONIC, that's what they want to do. Keep taxing them until they can't afford it anymore. Once they go for broke, that's when ONIC can start fully taking control over this game. For now, at least for Aurora's side, they're looking for the first and second item power spikes to really turn these fights over. So having this 2K lead on ONIC isn't the worst thing in the world. However, where's the big conversions, right? Every single lane is winning here.
Wow. Okay, I guess they just got the call too, you know, so come join us. Give up that top lane, but they will be able to find Keyboy. So trading it out, just to grab a kill, forfeiting the top tier 1 turret. Aurora Gaming is going to make that switch now, looking to put pressure on tier 1 mid.
And that's exactly what you want to do. These are the conversions that matter here. And Pagu instantly wants to cut off as many rotations as possible. Look at Luna right in front of Sans' face.
Yeah, they're going to have to stop him down. Glorious pathway to disengage, but Aurora Gaming got what they wanted. A kill, and now that turret falling in the mid lane. So this is going to be a battle. I feel like for game 4, what we're seeing, very different from the previous 3 games, is just this battle of attrition.
Ini
finding
memang
these little
hero-hero
moments around the
di
map,
Tian
finding ways to open
Aurora
it up,
Turki ini
get that
memang
favorable matchup when you can.
hero yang
Win this
butuh waktu
next
untuk nge-kill ya,
objective,
kan?
that turtle, and eventually the Lords come.
Hold up. This could be really dangerous. As ONIC forcing Lunar out of position, allowing Kelra to actually open things up. You can see the rest of the members are man-to-man defensing here. They understand what's about to happen, and I don't think they should take this right now.
All right, conceal used. Little taunt there, unbreakable. Gonna bring Pagu back. He goes in with a flick flicker. Locking down the Dryad. Sands gonna be
menang nih
okay,
Oniknya,
though.
gas aja.
Aurora Gaming on the back foot. They won't get away. Avatar of the Guardian will burn the flicker from Rosa. Still going to be caught amidst it all. Against the wall they go. A burst of damage. Boom is gone, and ONIC will win this fight. For Kyrie.
That's got to be upsetting here. Very, very upsetting. But even so, it's just not enough damage. The economic lead here for the side of ONIC being pressed against Aurora as they are starting to run out of breath. But initially, when you see this fight from the side of Aurora, maybe it could have been something more, and they wanted Sans really bad. They got the ult out. They also made sure that he doesn't have his flicker available. The problem is if they don't let themselves the kill, that's a lot of resources wasted on the side of Aurora.
That also, you know, when we saw it from the highlights there, it just looked like they weren't synced up the way they wanted to follow through on Pagu's setup. They were kind of in a weird position, and it might have been one of those cases where, again, Pagu's just like, you know, I'm already here and I'm already taunted up, but I'm breakable and everything else. I kind of have to do something, and, you know, Aurora Gaming loses that fight. Now they lose themselves the space to work with. They're 5,000 gold behind, and ONIC has been in the driver's seat now for a few minutes. And the fact that you have the Sky Piercer that was picked up when we talked about minutes ago, Kyrie's now got a couple stacks on it, so that's great for him. And even looking at the build that Kelra has, he's going for the Rage Advantage, right? He already had that blade earlier on. That was the first time he rushed in. Then he got Malefic Gun, and Brody's already got great range advantage against a Harith. Well, now, even more so.
Yeah, and I think that's the really scary part, right? Because ONIC, this is a really good timing to, instigate fights, and Aurora recognize that. That's why you're seeing them clump up together a lot more, because they have to work with their secondary win condition or main scaler in this particular case in Sigibum. Tianzi also understands that as much as he is the jungler, the neutral objectives are very manageable for the time being until we start getting into the Lords. So we need to see the tempo breaker here.
Right now, too, Lunar, even as tanky as he is, he can feel the damage being put out. This purple buff being fought for, though, unfortunately, Tianzi will not be able to secure it. Kyrie's been pretty unrelentless in this side of the jungle as he just continues to take camps, you know, from Aurora Gaming.
Interesting. I hope I saw that right. That was a Haas call purchase coming in from Kelra here. Wants to make sure that at least at the very bare minimum that he actually has some form of lifesteal. And not to mention that, you know, Brody naturally, the way that his auto attacks work, has so much more base damage than the regular marksman, all kind of put into one because he doesn't have as many consistent auto attacks compared to them. In this case, he's going to get a decent amount of heal. So in case they try to burst him, the window has just gotten smaller for the side of Aurora.
Okay, with Lord up.
Lord.
They should have space control above this. They'll keep Loopy up there on the top side doing his thing for now. They don't want to overstep this. One thing's for sure is if you're up against a team like Aurora Gaming, you still got to respect what they can do, even if you have this kind of lead that ONIC has built up. But they can go ahead and play the map this way. You know, keep Loopy there, play around the rest of the 4 members of ONIC. And Aurora Gaming knows this. One thing too, having this dangerous grass in tow,
agak berat sih, susah nih guys kalau load di load.
Kecuali Aurora, but now Luffy being spotted out, and the rest of Aurora Gaming, they don't have much room to work with. Conceal was already used. They're going to keep them pushed off the Lord.
And the pendulum swings again. Sigmund kind of the only person who has enough damage to deal with Lutfi. Rosa, as you can see, needs to put a little bit of work into Lutfi, start shredding the MR first, and then starts getting the empowered fork to lightning to ensure that he gets some permanent damage. But even then, Lutfi is in a phenomenal position. He's got plenty of magic resist. He's got plenty of health to work with. He's running Brave Smite as well. Never mind. As soon as I say, Divine Glaive has already been purchased by Rosa.
All right, it's locked in. ONIC might be looking to make that attempt here. It's going to reset though. Ice Queen Wand picked up too. By Sans. Dragged back. Flicker forward, not connecting the Wrath of Dryad. Able to pick up a kill, and with that, Aurora Gaming has to give this Lord over to ONIC.
What a difficult job that Pagu is trying to attempt here. He sees the angle where he either has to pick Kyrie or Kelra. He wants to get both of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's starting to cost them here, right? I think he has to make a clean decision of what needs to get cut in half. So far, I think Kyrie should be the priority in this case because he's the one running Sky Piercer. That could open up some more opportunities, but it doesn't change the natural problem that even without a Sky Piercer, Kelra can finish off kills with torn apart memories from halfway across the screen.
Yeah, that range advantage is what makes Brody so deadly in this space here. EOD picked up for Kyrie now. So maybe Pagu just needs to go ahead. If he can catch Kyrie, catch one of them,
Walaupun mereka ngelotnya lama
We see the
ya.
past couple interactions right now. They get
Tapi
to
Doranya
slow
lagi ngeselin guys, bisa dapat banyak
clear
ya.
out what they can in the mid. First pathway drop down. They're going for Kelra. He's gonna get stunned. I'm tired of the Guardian. Now Kelra's in trouble. Pago will find him and just punch him in the face, locking him down. Keyboy gone. Kyrie on the run. Loopy trying to get away too. What just happened to ONIC in this side of the jungle? They do shut down TNZ. And now Sans looking for more. Burns the flicker from Rosa. Lord is still there. Sigibum's got to deal with it. But man, Aurora Gaming might have found a little bit of life and wiggle room in this game.
Yeah, honestly, that was pretty good coming in from Aurora. I'm pretty sure that Keyboy didn't have his taunt ready to go, and they recognize that Kelra still doesn't have his flicker for a couple more seconds, so they find the punish. Let's watch this one more time, because it felt like Kelra just kind of ate it. And Keyboy, out of position, uses the AOG to try and close the distance, but by then it's already too late. The damage has already been done. Not to mention that also, passive coming in from Pagu, shredding away at the little bit of life that Kelra actually has, but now he's got the Berserker's Fury on top of the Haas Claws. He's got some real damage in his belt right now, and unless Sans can keep him protected, they want the traditional front to back.
If ONIC didn't have that Lord that Aurora Gaming had to deal with, Aurora Gaming would have followed through in that fight. Sigibum knew he had to go back and clear it out. And they maintained the base turrets. Again, falling from this deficit, Aurora Gaming able to go ahead and find a moment, but I think that was just, a little mistake from ONIC. Again, they still have a great lead. They still have Kyrie didn't go down, so he's, his stacks that he's built up over this time has been okay. And as you mentioned, Kelra now has another item locked in here. Even Sans getting a little more defense locked in with that Brute Force breastplate.
This is where things are going to be a little dicey all across the board here. And Keyboy already making sure he's able to slow down the auto attacks coming in from Sigibum. Chastise Pauldron, a pretty important purchase in case that he just needs a sliver of health to survive. A lot of Brute Force breastplates across the board as well.
Not only, again, to kind of help with this physical damage throughput, especially with Tenzi. The way he's built up, I mean, he's even got a little mix of defensiveness there with the Queen's Wings locked in.
Ini krusial ini.
But it's just been, I think, one thing that really stands out throughout these, even the group stage now, the knockout stages,
mereka ini memang nggak terlalu sakit sih ya demi orang Aurora Turki ini guys. Cuman susah matinya gitu.
Have a little more room to work with in comparison to a Paquito. So TNZ really has to not get kind of faked out. I feel like that's what happens with a lot of times when the Harara is across from you and you're dealing with it. You've just got so much to work with. And that's why, again, the responsibility of Pagu so crucial here on landing these Rapid Dryads. Lutfi going to be forced out of that brush alongside Keyboy. So it's a face-off for this Lord.
Just look at the way that they have to play, right? The only person who may be able to bait a reaction from ONIC is Sigibum because he's such a high-priority target. Now, ONIC, they don't have control over this, and Kyrie is ready to hop over the pit, but look at the mid lane. They get that first shot. They're going to reset this, and they're looking for an interception. Oh, are we going to get punished for getting knocked up by the Lord? Luckily, they don't.
What?
Lutfi, okay, still they're going to bring back Lunar. Lunar dropping down the Glorious Pathway to cut off Lutfi, but that's not the target you want to go for. To Aurora Gaming, and now couple ultimates expended here from Aurora Gaming. Lord will just reset as the space does.
At least they set the conditions. We used a lot of our ultimates, but we got a really good push down on that mid lane that ONIC has to respond to. Losing a free inhibitor turret is unacceptable at this stage of the game. And I think that at least for Aurora, they know they've hit the 43k mark. Their carries have the damage. TNZ and Sigibum are ready to fight. The question is, can they get some value or discounts from Lunar or even Pagu?
They saw TNZ up in the top lane. They wanted to blitz this Lord, but it resets anyway. So again, a good choice here. Keyboy was there, gave them the information. Meanwhile, ONIC still looking to bait Aurora Gaming into a fight. Quarter the health on this Lord. Oh, it's going to reset once again. Look at the positioning here from Keyboy. Lutfi. Pagu goes in with the flicker off the Dryad. Kelra's still going to be fine. Torn apart memory. Pagu goes down. TNZ can't find an opening. He's trapped. Even with the immortality, Kyrie gets a double. ONIC with the team fight victory here will get them the Lord.
What an incredible read from Kelra. What an incredible read. He reacted perfectly to the scenario. Winner crown just in time because Pagu, he keeps on doing this. Keep your eyes here. He sees it instantly. Winner crown to dodge the entire thing, and he still has the corrosive effects to make sure that he can finish everybody off. He's marked them, he's tagged them, he's outplayed them. got in the gold lane for a reason.
Yeah, what a move there. Again, it's a KK connection, just a different one for this. And now knocking on the mid turret. They're going to go ahead, force it down. Whoa, Keyboy taking a lot of damage here. He wants to get away, does with the Avatar of the Guardian defensively with a sliver of health. He'll regen it back up. They still have the Lord making its way here. So ONIC can go ahead and walk this into at least a base turret, potentially knocking down 2. Aurora Gaming wanting to hold on.
Oh, some really scary stuff. Really, really scary stuff. And you can see that Aurora, unfortunately without the glorious pathway, it's a lot harder for them to go on the chase. For ONIC, they can naturally do it, right? They have many different ways of using iframes and immobilizing, trading with one another, you know, the push and pull from Keyboy alongside with Kyrie to maintain their presence. Keyboy, he wants it, but they're not going to give him that option just yet. Oh my God.
Rosa, look at the damage. Rosa's going to have to be careful here, half health. But again, I think Aurora Gaming is going to be happy with that defense. They keep up 2 base turrets. ONIC gets 1. They play the discipline route and they'll back off for now. Again, they don't want to push it too far in. Even with, again, with this kind of lead, the composition, they can't get caught in a bad state here under these base turrets. So happy with 1. Plenty of time for that next Lord to come up here. But looking at the items again, you know, now that you've already seen the Winter Crowns come to play, the Immortalities, you're going to see some item swaps up to this point.
Dom Ice already complete as well, making sure there's some kind of anti-heal and anti-shield. Oh, wait. Interception angle potentially here.
He's going to get Unbreakable taunted. Should be able to get away. Good coverage there, though, by Aurora Gaming. Again, you can see they have to play together here. They're most likely going to get poked down, half health or so. Pagu finally gets into Immortality, though.
Oh, man, Kyrie, man, Hirara is such a busted hero.
Tapi gue nggak khawatir sih game yang ini ya, keempat ini.
Feels like she's got 6 abilities sometimes.
Si Aurora kurang ya.
Yeah, she's not Suyo. Even though she has more abilities than Suyo at level 2 compared to level 3, you know, no big deal here. I can't wait for 4 abilities at level 1. Eventually we're going to get there. But the scary thing about it is that Kyrie understands that he's allowed to actually take the first move. Because until we see the trigger being pulled by Lunar, they know that Aurora ain't really in it. Their hearts aren't in it to go for the all-out fight without that condition. And as long as Kyrie has iframes to play with, he can do this all day, all night.
Yeah, it almost feels like Aurora Gaming's but still, goes pathway. They're going right for Kelra. Okay.
Untung ada
They
flicker
can
dia,
nap
guys.
the Guardian out, plus the flicker. Burnt from Kelra. 10 seconds for this Lord to come up. That would say that's value for Aurora.
That's a lot of value, actually. Wait, I want to see what ONIC is going to do after this, right? Because now that Kelra doesn't have his flicker, let's see if they correct the waves. Because unless they can correct the waves, bot side is on a slow push, mid is neutral, top side is getting corrected by Aurora. And I think that ONIC, despite having a 6.9k lead, I don't know if Kelra has enough money to go for an item swap after that.
Langsung swipe nih. Oni langsung kalah kalau seandainya Aurora dapat
delay this as much as you can here. If they can. Okay.
Ludwig having to use his ult. And Kyrie still dancing around. Yeah, they're not going to do much about this. And I think that Aurora recognized that, you know what? As long as Kelra ain't showing himself and he doesn't have that flicker, it's not that big of a deal. Take away our purple. We don't care about this. Look at that top side. It's already shoving in bot side as well. Hirara shows up and now Aurora takes the space.
Rosa goes in with a flicker, but Sans
jauh kali, guys.
in time.
Udah ulti, orang itu udah buang-buang ulti, gas. Apalagi ya.
Here, a couple marks. They have to
Itu
back
mati
off,
gak sih
though.
itu?
This isn't the fight they wanted. Avatar to the Guardian, not
Set.
gonna connect.
Nah, pecah
But it's
emonya.
Pagu. Immortality pop. This should be a
Ngapain
kill for
Pagu?
ONIC.
Mati
He goes
Pagunya.
in with the flicker. Wrap the triangle, drop down. Kyrie
Lagi,
gets the kill.
lagi,
Sigma
rata.
finally with a crown already used. In it for now.
Lagi.
TNC, Immortality. They're gonna chase him
Lagi,
down.
nah,
He has
itu dia
nowhere
menang.
to go as ONIC wins the
Bisa
team
end gak sih,
fight. Will
cuy?
start up the Lord.
Great reaction time coming in from Sans. If he died there, I think that
Dan
could have been it.
ini
It could have been the
tinggal 2 orang
turnaround that
kan,
Aurora
harusnya
were
bisa di-end
looking
sih.
for. But
Tapi
that's what I'm telling you.
objektif.
That glorious pathway is the key to everything right
Sayang
now.
mereka udah
A
cepet
beautiful
ini,
rotation
bawa
from
ulti
Kyrie
toh.
alongside with Kelra to open
Telat
up a
orang
different
itu.
angle and forcing
Buru-buru
Pagu into a
ulti.
pretty awkward position. But you can tell that Sigabom, Keyboy, he's eating so many shots from Sigabom. It takes way too long.
Well, they're in the pace. They took out Rosa. Now Sigabom trying to get some revenge here.
Apaan itu, Bang?
Double for Kelra. That is it. It's going to take us to a game of 5 in this this matchup with ONIC in Aurora Gaming.
Are you not
Well.
entertained? We finally get a full series here.
Ini
in
baru
our
grand
playoffs.
final
Great
ini,
job
mirip
as
ya.
ONIC pulls it back to match point 2-2.
Match
These
point itu
teams
dua tim
are
nih,
so
dua sama no.
equally matched in so many different ways. The slightest advantages in the drafts is a make it or break it. And I think Rosa is probably thinking to herself, man, if only I didn't have to recall at level 1.
Semoga ada Mio keluar ya. Seandainya tadi, seandainya ya. Seandainya Aurora Turki tadi pakai Hanabi ya, bisa beda cerita ya.
They made the adjustments and they executed well. Again, yeah, you said it, Gideon. It's so well matched here between these two. I mean, both teams have really surprised us, especially I think everybody when Aurora Gaming came through, swinging through
Nice,
the
ONIC.
group stages. But
Kita
ONIC
melaju ke
themselves
game
have
match point di game
adapted so
kelima
well,
ya.
Not just in the draft, but in the
Gila,
execution
seru banget,
here.
guys.
You know, there's plays and highlights across the board
Kita
in
di
this
highlights-nya
lineup
ya.
as we look at the highlights here from STC. It was just from start to finish. I mean, this is also our
First
longest
blood.
game throughout the series, I believe.
Yes.
You know, the 20-plus minute mark here. But talk about the team fighting prowess from both these teams.
Oh, so
Kekurangan
much.
di
There's
ini
so
sih
much to
Aurora
kind of
Turki
cover
ya.
here, and especially with Kelra's overall performance, you would imagine that at some point, Kelra would have started to struggling against the frontliners of Pagu alongside with Lunar, but their eyes are not targeted towards Kelra sometimes. Sometimes when you're fighting these neutral objectives, you're looking at the enemy jungle, and moments where they finally put their attention on Kelra is when he doesn't have that flicker. Step 1, get his battle spell out. Step number 2,
Jadi
can we
Kelra juga
also
nggak ada
catch
yang ngelock di sini
Kyrie
ya.
in these
Aurora
moments?
juga
And if we
kurang
can,
banget di
that's
sini
fine.
sih.
Let's just take out
Susah dia
Kelra
mengelok
guaranteed.
Oh, again, there was so many
Kelra
good
ya.
plays like this. That winter crown usage from Kelra, able to go ahead and cap out the torn apart memory, just the coverage that he had too from Keyboy and Sans. I mean, Keyboy's job alone.
Nah, di sini yang tadi
was
kesalahan
so
orang
difficult.
Aurora
I mean,
tuh
it
di
wasn't
sini
like he
tadi
was landing all these
cepet-cepet
avatar
banget,
guardians, but he
cepet
was
banget
still
dia bawa
providing
ulti tuh.
space for Kyrie and Kelra to move around with. You know, Loopy was doing the same thing, just not as flashy, obviously, on a Uranus, but still providing so much value for these team fights.
But Loopy is literally the border of their territory. Wherever Loopy is, they cannot walk past him. And that's so frustrating because Sans can cover so many different angles at once. Well, I want to go further into this. I got to save it over for our panel as we throw it back to Rain Day. What do you think about this game?
Well, what else can you think
Oke,
when
kita
a
menuju ke
crowd
game kelima ya.
erupts here in Paris because ONIC work against on the side of ONIC? Who's the priority?
No one.
No one. Sounds
If you can catch Fanny, great, but
Match
wow, I
point
don't know about
teman-teman
that.
ya.
At best,
Game
probably just
kelima
disrupt.
mengerikan
ONIC will just
sekali.
go all in the team fights.
Who are you leaning towards, guys? Final game.
I'm leaning towards ONIC.
I have to go for ONIC.
ONIC. Wow. Indonesian champions
Ini jujur
in
ya.
2023, trying to go back and win in the
Agak
semifinal. Aurora
Agak ngeri.
trying to prove that they deserve to be on the main stage. It's
Ngeri
one game
sekali.
away that decides it. A best of 5 turned into a best of 1. Aurora Gaming versus
Ayo, siapa
ONIC
akan balik hari ini,
Turkey versus
teman-teman?
Indonesia. Let's send it back over to our
Come on,
casters,
ONIC, you can do it.
Gideon and Naisu for Game 5 at MSC.
Two teams walked into this arena at the Esports World Cup thinking that they could make some life-changing money. Now they put it all on the line as both teams have pushed it to match point. A single mistake, a single good play could be the difference between a lot of cash here. But now let's jump
Ini
right into
jujur
this
ya,
game as
kalau gua
Landon
bilang
has
ini kuat
already
di
blessed us
Aurora
with a
Turki ya, gua jujur
beautiful
aja gitu.
series.
And
Gua
even
dia di
this
sini,
draft,
karena
Gideon,
mereka ada
for
Claude
Game
di situ.
5,
Ada
brings
Joe
us, I
yang
feel
ngeselin
like,
banget
back to the
pastinya si
fundamentals,
Paku
you know, for the
lagi-lagi
most
cowoknya
part. Even if
dikasih
you
di
look at
sini.
Aurora Gaming lineup,
Walaupun ada
our
Fanny,
panel talked
cuman
about
Fanny
it.
kalau ditendang
There's
Cho
no
juga,
more
waduh.
things
Ada
surprising
orang lagi
yourself
loh.
in the draft. It's pretty
Waduh.
standard. There's only so much that the coaching staff can do. It comes down to that execution. ONIC on the same foot. Pick up some of their
Jujur,
best
ini
heroes
di-make
across
dari
the lanes
ONIC
here.
ya, kurang
Again,
kali
to
ini
see
ya.
potentially
Jujur
Kyrie
ya,
on
di
this
make kurang di
Fanny
ONIC ya.
and Kelra
Yang
having the
kuat
hair up
justru
here.
di
There's something
Aurora
that can
Turki.
be
Mereka
said
ada
for the
Claude, ada
movements,
Cho ya, ada
the way they move around the
Hirara.
map. Alone
Sedangkan
can
di
set
mic-nya
things in pace.
Let's set the stage here because so far
ONIC
Aurora,
ini bener-bener
you can tell
ngandalin
that
si
top side is definitely
Hari
gonna be their
doang,
strong
nggak
side.
cukup,
Lunar playing a
guys.
much better game
Di
this
sini
time
mah.
around, not having to deal with the Esmeralda, but against the Barats, it's going to be a lot easier to kind of
Di sini,
outmaneuver and control this lane
Fanny
better.
bunuh siapa
Especially
kayaknya bisa
since it's a
di sini?
no-go
Bunuh
lane.
Cho susah.
Nobody's going to die here. There's nothing to worry
Bunuh
about. But
Claude
on the
paling
bottom
ya.
side is where it
Claude
gets
banyak.
interesting. And I was wondering in the draft whether or not this
Kita
Cho was
percaya
going
sama
to be
ONIC
the
aja ya,
difference
teman-teman.
maker.
Kita
Both
percayakan pada
sides
teman-teman
had
kita.
to take
Bismillah
Purify
ya
in
ONIC,
this
you can
case.
do it
So
ONIC.
it's a general neutral lane, but knowing Sigibum, he's played this matchup against the Harith many times before in the previous year.
We can see this pressure already. on these green camps of Kyrie. Pagu takes some shots here. Quarter of the health, he's going to have to get out of there. This is one of the difficult things for Pagu to deal with. You know, when asked the question, who's the best target for those kicks? Who's the best person to go for? Honestly, it's Kyrie, but as mobile as a fan is, that's a tough task to take here. First turtle up for grabs. ONIC going to start it up. Luna kind of gives that information, but TNZ's not anywhere near it. So first objective, turtle, going to ONIC.
They're just uninterested. There's just no reason to fight for it as of right now. Not until they have that kick to start developing a dedicated lead. And ONIC recognize this, right? Sans immediately takes away the dragon on their side in case they can find a moment to snowball this even further. The mid duos have been doing really, really well and have adapted a lot throughout the matches. Now they're going to go down towards their insurance policy. Carol getting a really good freeze here onto Sigaboom. And this is where it starts to get dangerous, right? If Sigaboom unfortunately uses his BMI too early, there's a chance he gets run down by Kelra with the Zaman Force.
It's almost me on the other side. Loop using the flicker. Daytona's welcome into the wall. There's the follow through. Nice kick from Sans into the turret. First blood for Kyrie. They find two. Now they're looking trying to get away here. He's got a sliver of health. Jump back in. There's the counter punch. Taking out Kyrie and Pagu. With the G-Kundo, we'll be able to get away. No follow-through damage. It's a trade, the 2-for-2.
God, that was hot. Pagu, what a, wow. Let's look at this one more time, because again, the play coming in from Sans was good, right? He flickers on over to guarantee the kick to the right side, but that third hit of G-Kundo, breaking it up at just the right time, allowing Lunar to survive this, and also using his Purify. He probably should have used it slightly earlier, but it doesn't matter. He got the damage off of his shield, and even for ONIC's side, they don't mind this trade at the end of the day. So what if Lunar gets it? We'll eventually be able to deal with it later down the line. So for now, those who found the kills have the money to go even further. TNZ and as well as Kyrie dead even right now, but only a slight lead, one level lead for TNZ.
I wonder how many times Sans will try to replicate that, you know, take the kick, take that way the dragon from Pagu, utilize the kick himself, or does he take something else? You know, between Rose's ultimate, that Thundering Wrath can be beneficial too. So Sans will have his work cut out from him, but like we just saw, pretty good here. Skypiercer now picked up for TNZ, the second turtle coming through.
All right, TNZ has to play for cleanup here. They can initiate, walk back, wait for a little bit, and then clean up later. Kyrie, he's got the Heptaseas already ready to go, and he wants to make sure that when he gets on top of a target, that target dies straight away. So now you can see that at least from between ONIC and as well as Aurora, they're constantly trading. They're constantly trading the HP.
Okay, again. With the dragon held on by Sans. There's the Daytona's welcome. You know, right on the mark. Kyrie coming through. Consecration already going to be used. Quarter of the health on the turtle. TNZ will secure it. Fight breaks out. Blazing duet, not enough. Keyboy will fall, and then another trade. Kelra has some space to work with. A whole lot of battle spells used up as well. And TNZ will get away with the iframes here on that Hirara.
He's dancing around here. Kelra playing a dangerous game. You can tell by that positioning. Unfortunately, the Zaman Force might not be enough there. ONIC now trying to set something up. They want to see Sigaboom, but they don't notice him just yet. He's hiding in the bush, and the denial of information has caused ONIC to give up on the dive.
Okay, they're going to get forced out of there. They wanted to make a play, but luckily Sigaboom has that protection. Pagu, there's the kick right on cue. Purify still available. Now it's Kyrie joined the fight. Through, gets stunned. Pagu trying to get away. Burns the flicker. He will survive. Neither team falling in the exchange bottom.
You can tell how antsy both sides are. Sigaboom luckily doesn't get his recall cancel, but that will mean that bottom tier 1 is under threat. They are willing to trade topside, but at least from Kyrie's POV, easily is able to dodge out of the right ability. Does he get the turret? Oh, it's one auto attack. It's as good as gone.
Take a little bit longer to take that one down, but pretty much ONIC just trying to find what they can across the map here. It's really neck and neck in Game 5 so far, Gideon. Again, this is exactly how you want this series to pan out here. Neither team really pulling the switch just yet. Right now, it's going to be a tier 1 that falls. Already pressure there. Rosa burning the flicker to survive. Actually, Sans burning his flicker. And now trying to secure that purple buff. They do just that. Pagu forcing himself out of sight of the jungle. So this is just a battle for buffs and just tier 1s.
And you know that Aurora generally has a bit of an advantage in these moments, especially with slight leads on their sides. Best part yet, the iframes making it even harder, especially since you can control the timing of when you decide to drop down that falling maple. In the meantime, though, as we can see Aurora alongside with ONIC contesting for the space at this point. The main contestant is having control over this mid lane. If we see TNZ make a mistake here, luckily he doesn't walk into the lane, goes for the Lethal Wanderer instead and lets Sigaboom actually absorb this wave. ONIC miss out that opportunity.
Okay, waiting patiently here too. Last turtle of the game. 1 for 1 across both sides for this objective. ONIC will play it a little bit slow. Keyboy waiting, he's got a flicker available. Conceal going to be used. He's going to force the fight for this third turtle anyway. They get stunned in their tracks. Kyrie jumping through. Daytona's welcome. Into the wall he goes and Rose is gone. Nowhere to run either as he's
kasih paham tuh dimiknya Harit udah ini
they
sakit
got
guys.
the objective and the kills.
That was a hot play coming in from ONIC. It felt calculated beginning to end. The timing of Keyboy utilizing his Wrath of the Dry. It's not to mention just an amazing flicker Detona's welcome right onto Rose's face. Nothing they could do at that point. They reached, they grabbed, and they caught the ball out of the air from Aurora. Let's look at this replay one more time because as Kyrie makes this play, it catches afterwards, but it catches just enough. With Rosa already down and TNZ having no combo points, actually going to his iframes. Literally nothing you could do there.
And that's the thing too, the fact that it's broken walls and you have this fanny, you can utilize a little extra opening on these turtle pits or eventually the Lord pits, something that you can do here. So Kyrie can kind of just swing on through into those fights, following through the Wrath of Dry. They're going to do it again on the tier 2. The buff is gone! Where did he go? And Luna to follow.
Gila.
For Kyrie. But now TNZ waiting for the rest. Rather than for Kyrie, making a
a statement being made by ONIC right now as they're looking to crack open. Bottom side tier 2, and they've evened out this score. 3.2k lead in their hands. Things are getting extremely dangerous for Aurora. Sigaboom, he's got to be careful here. That BMI is literally his only lifeline. Just watch, as soon as the BMI drops, you see that Kelra said, hell no, we dive in this. We're sending the goon squad to take him out.
And they line this up so well. For the whole team, but for Kyrie just to make those plays again on this fanny, how do you keep track of him? I mean, we've asked the question all darn MSC, how do you keep track of Aurora? Well, when you put the fanny in the hands of someone like Kyrie or any of these specialists, this is what you have to deal with too. It feels like its own iframes.
It's tough. It's really tough. Kyrie has been playing a really strong game here. Those cables have been ultra accurate at dodging some key abilities from the side of Aurora. Even Lunar, I think he can't be that frontline that they're hoping that he can be right now. He hasn't won his lane hard enough. And with the 8 extra assists, well, technically 5 extra assists that Lutfi has been able to gain for himself, and the chastised Aldrin, he is so thick. Luckily, Lunar is able to get one of his own.
Lord is being started up here. Holding it at half health. ONIC with a clear lead. They have control of this. They might be able to just go and secure this. It looks like they are going to do just that as TNZ is up top. They have the information, and ONIC will play around now with this first Lord secured.
Mid trio has been playing a phenomenal game here for the side of ONIC. And unfortunately, for the side of Aurora, they've missed their window to develop their snowball even further. With the Maniac being given over to ONIC's side, resetting all that early game pressure that they were applying. Now they have to hope that Sigaboom gets the right items at the right time here because TNZ can only do so much. He's so close to finishing the Golden Staff.
So close here. Lord slowly approaching that bottom side. Again, with this kind of lead, Sigaboom just needs more time. He just doesn't have enough firepower here. And if they take out Rosa, so much damage of this profile for Aurora Gaming is expended. And they slowly walk this one in. This Lord coming down to this bottom side. Keyboy popping the conceal, looking for a potential flicker play. Lord's going to go ahead and charge into the base turret. They already popped off some damage, trying to keep them at bay. And Lunar has to disengage. They just want to clear out this Lord. They want to hold on to these base turrets. Pushing the turret just to secure it. And now ONIC will go ahead and call it off. They look for more space turrets up top. Kyrie TNZ holding it in bay. They hold on to 2 base turrets for now.
ONIC right now just aren't falling for any of the typical tricks. They're going to lose another shielding here. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. ONIC have set this up for a final push for the next board. If they can get the ults, they do.
Charge in. Loopy jumping in, and they still have him anyway, Loopy gone, and Siggy Boom 2. Kyrie's still going. They're cut off from each other. Pagu trying to get away. A couple shots, still has the shield. They're so low though. Aurora Gaming might want to punish. They're still following through. TNZ has mobility, but they will rely on the conceal to get away.
And Sans, he's ready to intercept every single time. ONIC, they are well connected right now. And Aurora, they've tried a couple of feints here. Yep. They've tried a couple of motions where Pagu is trying to bait a reaction out of ONIC, but they're just not flinching anymore. And I think that confidence is starting to build up. It's surmounting to some real damage in Kelra. He's not dropping the ball. Same goes for Sans.
Look at the disparity of damage dealt by the key members here of Aurora Gaming. TNZ there at the bottom, Siggy Boom there at the bottom, and look at the difference for ONIC. Such a big difference in terms of damage, and that's just because of how these team fights have played out. ONIC has all the room to work with, especially for counter-up provided by this team that Siggy Boom has just been trying to catch up. And we know this, Gideon, when you are delayed this much on that power spike for the Claude, it's really tough to get back into the zone in this one.
It is hard. At the same time, they've got some decent wave clear on their end between TNZ, Siggy Boom, and as well as Rosa. They should be the ones who are proactively trying to work together between these lanes, while Pagu and Lunar needs to delay lanes. On the opposite end, ONIC very happy to be in this position. You know, they still have access to those steel cables, and Kyrie can do whatever he wants. Go to top side, set up the wave, reset the Lord again. They can do this all day, all night.
They got to clear out that bottom wave here. They do just that. Half health on this Lord. ONIC has control. We're going to see if they can bait something from Aurora Gaming. Doesn't happen. So objective secured. We'll have to see Aurora Gaming's lineup. If they can defend once again, already losing a 1 base turn on the last push, they maintain it 2. Are they in a position to withstand another push hit?
Aurora decided not to. So now that they decided to, you know what, we're going to let the Galore come in. There's a pretty good chance that they lose all their inhibitor turrets. And that's a dangerous decision to make, because all of this is so that they can get to the 42k mark where they have an option to maybe try and get a good team fight down to turn the tides. But I don't know how they're going to get neutral objectives. And until we see a full wipeout on ONIC's end, I don't think Aurora necessarily can push through just yet.
Keyboy walking in on that bottom side here. Lord already in the base. Still has a flicker available. The Lord's actually going to go down very quickly from Aurora Gaming, so they maintain it. They still have some waves pushing in. ONIC might look to take down 1 base turret this mid lane as Kelra jumps forward. Already, Rocket's going to force the flicker out now. They're trapped under the turret anyway. Rosa's gone again in Pagu. Trying to buy the time off the kick. Kyrie might chase him down. The rest of the team's going to force the fight in the base. Kyrie joining them now. Siggy Boom with the blazing duet to clear out the lanes. They just want to stay in the game. But Kyrie keeps them together, and now they'll disengage. They still have this wave, but ONIC's too low.
Oh my goodness, the item swap right at the very end there. Siggy Boom, holy cow. Holy cow. That was a dangerous moment. It wasn't for that Rose, he would have died to the cutthroat coming in for Kyrie. They are out to get him.
Yeah.
The checkbox is simple. Wait for the stun to come out of Rosa. Once TNZ is down to only 1 combo point, then it becomes very easy to get on top of Siggy Boom, especially since so many times he walks up to try and dish out damage to specifically Lutpian as well as Keyboy. I think that's where you see a lot of the vision starts to narrow down. He's got to open the mind back up here. He's got to look for different angles. His main concern really is going to be Kelra and Kyrie. Once those go down, there's a good opportunity that Aurora can win the fight afterwards. I'm trying to figure it out. Can Rosa actually find a good opportunity to stun someone? Because Kyrie never shows.
That's such a tall task here for Aurora Gaming. Playing on the back foot the past 10 plus minutes, or essentially this whole game. They're looking for a way to potentially turn this over in their favor, but there's just so much they have to do. They're going to go ahead and scout out. I think the main point of contention is, do they actually try to contest this Lord when it comes up? You know, it's not going to be evolved just yet unless for some reason ONIC delays it enough to go ahead and go through that. And I fear that if it is an evolved Lord, it's going to be tough. But look at this pressure already up top. Immortality swapped in by TNZ. Rapid Dryad used as well. So an attempt here. Now ONIC. What do they want to do?
Coverage, look at the coverage for Lupi, as well as Sans. Beautiful push and pull here. TNZ able to bait out the Wrath of the Dryads, and honestly, ONIC, they don't mind. They're like, okay, sure, no Wrath of the Dryads. We want you to come to us, actually. We want you to come just when Wrath of the Dryads is about roughly 8 seconds, maybe 12 seconds, and then we're gonna dance. We're gonna keep on dancing, because unfortunately for you, super minions are always gonna be knocking on your door, and
ini yang blunder kalah ini.
And they got a Fanny.
Ya Uranus bisa dibus sama Harito, lihat
can go ahead,
itu
put pressure there if he needs to, but he's going to wait for this purple buff to be up. You know, this Lord is up.
Udah ada
They
Imo,
delay it a
Paku.
little bit further if they want to.
Kan berani mereka ngedime kan, berani mereka cuy.
In position here.
Lihat itu cuy, gimmicknya guys.
One last ditch effort if they can. TNZ swinging around.
Itu cuy, jangan guys.
TNZ making his way to this fight. Can he turn it around? Pocket with the kick. It's on Kyrie. Immortality are going to be bopped. Kyrie's going to get out there. TNZ Pocket falls. And now it's all falling apart. With the crowd with the blazing do it from Siggy Bomb. But it's
Wah, menang.
Aurora gets a double. Aurora, they still have
cukup, guys.
TNZ up, but Luna
Bisa sih.
on the disengage.
Gas.
This fight might just be over. Kyrie through. He has the lead. He's going for TNZ. Immortality till he doesn't.
Wih, menang ONIC.
We'll move on
Yes.
with the hope of Indonesia as they douse out the lights of Aurora Gaming.
One hell of a game, and ONIC, no disappointed smiles. Everybody knew that this was going to be one hell of a game, and they find it and they break through. A crushing defeat
Alhamdulillah
for Aurora.
guys.
God, that's the nature of competition. What a sweaty game.
What a series. 5 games for this one. Again, we wouldn't have it any other way, and man, was it a battle. And big respects here to Aurora Gaming on the innovation they brought throughout the group stages, up down here to the knockouts. And unfortunately, as the nature of competition, someone has to go home.
They push the meta forward. Was it truly their destiny to make it to the end? ONIC, take that spot. Just another light snuffed out. The Sky Kings are getting back into position for a potential grand finals here. Oh my lord.
Kepagian
Every
guys.
moment of this game felt calculated. Every moment down to the beat. Aurora looking for many different opportunities, but once they couldn't get the reactions that they wanted from ONIC, it started to become just hard, just really heartbreaking.
Oh man, again, seeing these highlights here from STC, you saw how much of a dominant early game to mid game that they had, especially with Kyrie on this Fanny. There was only so much that they could do. I mean, Pagu, he even got a couple kicks on him, but the rest of the team was just scaling in their favor, and they knew how to play this composition to, you know, the best ability that we saw here. Even Keyboy on a lot of the Wrath of the Dryad flicker combinations he had. And even Sans having his own kicks half the time. You know, there was just so much that was utilized here. Even down this last fight, they just knew. With Kyrie swinging on in, there wasn't much more that Aurora Gaming could do in this instance.
With two great teams with amazing chemistry, it really just comes down to who has more experience. And ONIC take it this time. We're going to be throwing it over to our winners up on stage, which Milosh and of course, Keyboy.
They've done it again. ONIC to the semifinals.
Alhamdulillah.
What a matchup. We all need a moment to breathe after how close that match was. Keyboy, few questions for you before your key crushing moment. Now, this is not the first time, of course, you play Aurora here at MSC 26. You lost in the group stage, you won here in knockout. Why? What was the difference between those two games?
I think in the group stage we're not ready too much because they are so aggressive and the hero is good. But now we already know how they play and we got it.
Well, you got it, but there was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of effort to win that game. What do you do after game one? Because I saw how the reaction was on your faces. You went back with Coach CW. How do you reset and get back into the game?
Yeah, we just think next match the team spirit, right? Yeah. We just focus team spirit and yeah, just enjoy and reset for the next.
You have the reset for it then, and you know, you've made the knockout stage. Last year, you of course were here as well. It's semifinals again, 2 years in a row. The question is, are you ready to go deeper than that? Does that add to the pressure of the fact that you're also playing a non-SEA team that wants to get to the grand final as well?
Yeah, for us, yeah, we want to get the champion again, and we are ready to AWSU here now.
Keep in mind, there's now Zara Egoist on the other side on Team Spirit. It's not the first time that you play against them. You knocked them out last year in quarterfinals. There's also Sawo on the other team. That's your counterpart in position. I mean, what's going to change compared to that last year? Are you going to finally take them down here at MSC?
Same like Aurora, we want to take the defense first, and yeah, we are ready to fight Team Spirit. Just ready, Team Spirit.
Ready for Team Spirit. I have a lot of questions for you, but a question to the ONIC fans in here. What time is it? It's ONIC time. It's key crushing time. ONIC, gentlemen, come on over. You'll get to relax plenty right after this. Now let's all go to the back. Come along. Let's go crush that Aurora Gaming key. We waited so long. What a great match that we had. Incredible best of 5. Now you get to celebrate, Keyboy. Go ahead. Go ahead, gentlemen. Come on in. Last year, ONIC made it to the semifinals. This time, they've done it again. Goodbye, Aurora Gaming. Good luck in the next one. And as the fans are cheering, and as you heard them say, thank you for letting us know where the airport is. ONIC victorious, on to the semifinals. They'll be playing gatekeepers to yet another Western team, non-SEA. What happens tomorrow versus Team Spirit? We won't know for sure, but our panelists, they're going to break this match down for you.
The gold standard crushes the golden key of Aurora Gaming and sends them home one last time as MSC continues our semifinals.